and the Speaker, Congressman Khanna, seem to be pretty much on the same page. She told the Washington Post that it's just not worth it to go after the impeachment of the president. You've said something along those lines. Am I right?
Well, John, I haven't ruled it out, but I said the bar is very high. We certainly shouldn't prejudge anything, and we should wait for the evidence before we make any determination.
But what do the American people want? What do your constituents want?
Well, my constituents want there to be an open, aggressive investigation with all the facts to be transparent. They want to see the Mueller report released. They want to see what's going to happen with the Southern District of New York and that investigation. They want us to go through the process, and I don't think they want us to prejudge something. And they understand the gravity of impeachment and that it's a very high bar.
Here's what Speaker Pelosi said at a voting rights rally when she was sort of defending that comment to the Washington Post. She said, "I've been saying this for 2 years that he shouldn't be impeached, but when I said he's not worth it, then it got the press. And what he's not worth is the financial stability of America's working families, and that's what we're trying to correct. When the time comes," she said, "we'll see." It does seem like right now most Americans are not talking about impeachment a whole lot.
Well, I think there's serious concern still about the abuses of the rule of law, and people want transparency. They want an open investigation. But they also care most about communities that have been left behind. What are we doing to build infrastructure? What are we doing to provide health care? What are we doing to tackle prescription drugs? We have to have a positive agenda for the American people, and I think that's what Nancy Pelosi is focused on.
She has also said that she personally supports lowering the voting age to 16 in this country. What do you think about that?
Here's why I think it's a good idea, John. I was born and raised in Philadelphia, and so I grew up believing that young people really need to learn about the responsibilities of citizenship. If we could teach folks in 11th and 12th grade about voting and about the importance of learning American history and getting them used to voting, I think that would do so much for building a common American purpose and the responsibilities young people need in being good citizens.
She says that in your caucus, your Democratic caucus in the House, you're collecting thoughts about that idea. Are there others who would support lowering the voting age to 16?
There are. We had a vote on an amendment. There was quite a large group of people who supported it. And I just think that our country so desperately needs this next generation to learn about the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, to have a common American identity. I can see no better way than teaching that in high school. What happens now is folks leave school. They haven't really voted before. They don't have that habit that previous generations have had, and they don't take those obligations seriously. If we allow this to happen in high school, I think they'd be much better about voting and contributing to the country.
What about the possibility of overriding the president's veto? There were 13 Republicans who did join Democrats, but you need, what, 288 in the House, 66 in the Senate to override a veto? Ms. Pelosi says she's going to schedule the vote anyway. Isn't that kind of a waste of time?
Well, John, it's going to be an uphill battle, I'll be candid with you, but here's why it matters. The president shouldn't be allowed to subvert the will of Congress. I would say the same thing. Look, I'm a progressive Democrat. If there was a Democratic president who wanted to do Medicare for all or the Green New Deal and said, I'm going to declare a national emergency, I don't care what Congress thinks, you can count on me to oppose that. I think this is about the separation of powers and the rule of law, and it would be a terrible precedent to allow this president to declare a national emergency when Congress doesn't want to. So I think we really need to express our will that this is a wrong policy. It's going to be a hard vote, but I think it's important for Congress to make that statement.
Khanna.